buckle up because we're exploring the prologue of the Wish Thieves, and let me tell you, it's a wild ride. Okay, so it unfolds as a bedtime story, right?
Okay, interesting start.
Right, and what's so fascinating is how this seemingly simple story talking about sprites, stolen eyelashes, this mysterious bridge, it sparks so many different interpretations.
It's like it's tapping into something universal, but in a really unexpected way.
We're introduced to this old woman, and imagine this incredible voice, like a mix of French and Hebrew. Can you hear it?
Oh, I can totally hear that, yeah.
Telling her young niece, Minette, a story about these sprites.
Okay, sprites. So we're already in kind of a fantastical realm here.
We are.
But these aren't your typical, like, Tinkerbell sprites.
Oh.
These sprites are obsessed with building a bridge.
A bridge? Out of what?
Out of human eyelashes, of course.
Okay, wait, what? Eyelashes? That took a turn. I wasn't expecting that.
Right, and it gets weirder. So the story says they start by collecting naturally shed lashes, the ones that fall out on their own.
Yeah.
But then their greed, blossoms, and they start plucking lashes right off people while they're sleeping.
Oh, that's creepy. And the people, they have no idea this is happening.
Clueless. The town is hit with this, get this, eyelash-dropping epidemic. They even have a name for it. Metarosis.
Hold on. Metarosis. That rings a bell.
You know about it.
Yeah, actually. It's not just a made-up fantasy word. It's a real medical term for eyelash loss.
No way. Seriously.
Yep. The author slipped in a real medical term, which I think just makes it even creepier and kind of brilliant.
Like how much of this story is just make-believe and how much is reflecting something real about our world.
Exactly. And it makes you think, well, what are our eyelashes? What are we so focused on acquiring, achieving, building, that we're failing to see the unintended consequences of our actions?
See, I think that's what's so fascinating about these kinds of stories, right? You get something that seems really simple, almost whimsical on the surface.
Right, like sprites and eyelashes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then it's used to explore these much bigger, more universal themes,
Yes.
like our relationship with, the environment, or even the consequences of getting what you want without thinking about, the long game.
Okay, so why go through all that trouble? Like, what are they doing with all these eyelashes?
So, according to the story, they need them to build a bridge. The Bridge of Ages, they called it.
Whip up a bridge out of eyelashes?
Yeah.
What's the deal? Were they eating them for strength? Making some kind of magical eyelash glue?
See, I think that's the point. The how isn't really the focus here. It's more about the sprite's mindset. They weren't content to wait for eyelashes to naturally fall out.
Oh,
They were in a hurry, driven by this need, this very immediate, insatiable need to get that bridge built as fast as possible. And the consequences, they didn't really factor that in.
Oh, so basically just started plucking away, like it was no big deal. I think we've all met someone like that, someone who will take any shortcut, even if it means creating a bigger mess later on.
Absolutely. And the sprites, they're like a perfect example of that. Spoiler alert, eyelashes, they don't exactly grow back overnight.
Nope.
So this little scheme, it backfires, of course, causes major delays to their whole bridge project. But, and here's the kicker, did they learn their lesson?
Let me guess. Nope.
Not a chance. Instead of waiting for those eyelashes to grow back, they just packed up and moved on to the next town, leaving a trail of, you can imagine, a lot of bewildered and probably pretty barefaced citizens in their wake.
Okay, I have to admit that's kind of hilarious. But there's also a seriousness to it, too, right? I mean, it feels like this whole eyelash stealing thing is, a metaphor for something bigger.
Oh, absolutely. It's a brilliant, if a bit absurd, commentary on environmental exploitation. The way we go after resources, the disregard for the long-term consequences, the tendency to just move on to the next thing once we've depleted the first. It's all there.
Like holding up a mirror to human nature, almost. You get so focused on what you want, you forget to think about, the impact of your actions, especially on the world around you.
Precisely. And I think that's what makes this prologue so compelling. It takes this, what seems like a whimsical tale, this story about, some sprite stealing eyelashes, and uses it to explore some very real and honestly often uncomfortable truths about ourselves. But it's not just about the sprites, right?
Right.
We also have Minette, this young girl listening to the story, and her aunt, who seems very, very intent on making sure Minette understands what these creatures are really about.
So it's important, this knowledge.
Seems to be. Yeah, and it's almost like this strictness, this kind of skepticism, might actually make them more vulnerable to the sprite's tricks.
Wait, so you're saying someone who's naturally skeptical is more likely to get their eyelashes stolen? That doesn't That doesn't track. Wouldn't they be the ones, questioning everything?
Well, that's the thing about skepticism, isn't it? It cuts both ways. On the one hand, yeah, sure, you're less likely to fall for some, flashy illusion
Mm,
or a quick fix. But it can also make you, well, a bit blind to what you don't understand,
I see what you mean.
Like, you're so busy debunking everything, you miss the actual truth staring you right in the face.
Okay.
And the ant, she's got this figured out. Remember that line about knowledge being the key?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like she's giving Minette this vital piece of wisdom. Like, knowledge, especially about the things we don't want to believe, that's the best defense.
So it's not just about seeing through the illusions. It's about understanding the motive. Why steal eyelashes? What's the bigger picture? How do we not fall into that trap ourselves?
Exactly. And think about it, the title of the book, The Witch Thieves, it takes on a whole other meaning, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If these sprites, who we've already established are kind of shady,
Hmm.
if they're also stealing wishes, well, that's more than a few missing eyelashes. That's something else.
Things are getting a little creepy now. We've got sprites who take what they want, a family who might be in denial, and now this wish-stealing thing.
Like from the beginning, we're being warned. Looks can be deceiving, right?
Yeah.
Even something as simple as a wish can be dangerous.
So the question is, what happens when we don't know? When we don't even realize something's being taken?
Exactly. And not just for one person, but for everyone, right? What are the consequences when something as powerful as a wish is just gone? And who are these wish thieves anyway? What are they?
Whoa, okay, those are some deep thoughts. But before we go too far, let's go back to that knowledge as protection thing. How does that work, practically speaking?
Ah, now that's interesting. Think about your own life, right? Where has knowing something specific given you an advantage or helped you avoid a problem?
Okay, so like if I know how credit card interest works, less likely to end up in debt. Or like aware of scams online, less likely to get tricked.
There you go. See?
Okay.
It's not just trivia, right? It's about arming yourself to deal with the world, to
Yeah.
protect yourself from the people who would take advantage.
So this knowledge the ant's giving Minette, it's not just sprites are real, it's more than that.
Right.
It's about understanding how things work.
It's not just about being skeptical. It's about being open to different perspectives,
Yeah.
challenging what you think you know, being willing to see that maybe there's more to the story.
It's like, that saying, you don't know what you don't know. But here, it's more like, you don't know how much not knowing can hurt you.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. And it makes you wonder, what wishes are we giving away without realizing it? Not like birthday cake wishes, but the real stuff, the things we want deep down.
Right, our goals, our hopes, all that.
Exactly. What if we don't even see how we're, giving up our own power
Right.
just because something sounds good in the moment?
Oh, that is too real. Like, how many times do we click agree online? No clue what we're agreeing to. Or are those ads promising us the world, but then...
Right. Never quite lives up to it.
Exactly.
We're bombarded with so much these days, it's hard to keep up. But this story, it reminds us that knowledge matters.
What's the takeaway? What should folks be thinking about after this?
For me, it's that folklore. Even the weird stuff, it has a point. It's about us, about being human, the struggles we all face.
It's like those stories are passed down for a reason, right? They're warnings, but also like guides, helping us figure out this crazy world. And sometimes the biggest dangers are the ones we least expect.
100%. And those dangers, we can often face them head on with just knowledge. Knowing the world, knowing ourselves, knowing what's out there. Both the stuff we see and the stuff we don't.
Well said. So to everyone listening, as you dive into the Wish Thieves, watch out for those little hints, the things the author's hiding in plain sight.
And don't be afraid to ask those big questions. What wishes are you giving away without realizing it? What knowledge do you need to take back control? Sometimes the wildest stories, those are the ones that teach us the most real stuff about ourselves and about the world we live in.
And on that note, we'll leave you with those thoughts. Don't forget to share your own. Use #WishThievesDeepDive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and as always, happy reading.